Are you thinking about owning a home for the first time and you are just scared to death and you don't know where to go and who to talk to and even who to trust? Not to mention the market is crazy. Your neighbor's telling you that you shouldn't buy right now, that it's the worst time to buy. Somebody else is telling you it's the best time to buy. Who do you trust? Well, in this video, I really want to get down to the nitty-gritty and let you know how I help first-time home buyers make their dream come true. So let's get to it. Hey everybody, I'm Emily. I'm a licensed real estate agent here in the state of Florida, and I live in the Tampa St. Pete area. And if you're interested in knowing all things about the real estate market and living and working and playing in Central Florida, well, this channel's for you. So go ahead and click that subscribe button and that notification bell. That really helps me out a lot, but it also lets you know when I'm dropping new videos. And if you are looking to buy a home in the Tampa St. Pete area or in Central Florida in general, I can help you as well. But I can't help you if you don't reach out to me. All of my links are below. The best thing to do truly is to get on my calendar for a 30-minute consultation, or you can hit me up in an email and we can get a conversation going. I'd really love to help you. I've been helping a lot of real estate or home buyers right now that are looking to buy a home in our market through YouTube. It's been really great. So I'd really love to help you out as well, but you gotta hit me up if you wanna get that conversation going so we can see if we can make a plan for you as well. All right, so I had a subscriber actually ask me to do a video on first-time home buying, and I thought, wow, I can't believe I haven't done that yet. I wanted to share a little bit about my journey of buying a home for the first time and help you, if you're thinking of buying a home for the first time, where to begin. Okay, so where do you begin? Personally, I think you need to begin with the nitty-gritty of your budget and what money is coming in and what money is going out. Realistically, what can you afford? That's not gonna hurt your budget as it stands right now. Do you have a job? Is it a steady job? Are you gonna be keeping this job? Are you relocating for a job? That's different too. Are you a 1099 employee? We'll talk about that as well. So there's lots of factors that go into, owning a home. And I talked to a lot of people, and even some people that have bought homes over and over again, you forget, right? So I always say, start with your budget. And also, how much cash do you have? Do you have some savings that you can allocate towards the down payment? And that will also help you with your monthly mortgage payments as well. In this market, in this day and age, and by the way, in 6 months it could be different, but right now you're most certainly gonna have to put 20% down, and then obviously you need to cover your closing costs, which are gonna be anywhere from 2 to 3% as well of the sale price. So let's start with money, budgeting, and then let's talk to a lender. We need to know where your credit score is. Are there any little blemishes on your credit that we can start working on? Can you pay down some cards? Another big thing that people do that's a huge mistake when they're thinking about buying real estate is they go and they purchase that brand new car, or they purchase that brand new bedroom suite or whatever, and then it jacks your credit up, right? You wanna be careful if you are thinking about purchasing a home to not wreak havoc on your credit. Your credit score gets pulled every 30 days. So just make sure that if you need a car, obviously get a car, but you're gonna have to wait a little bit. And you wanna see also what your debt to income ratio looks like. And that is where a lender comes in. I have some lenders that I work with that I love and trust, and we've done some really great deals. I can always share that information with you. Please don't hesitate to comment below if you need some lender information. But it's really important that you start that conversation with a reputable lender so that you can know not only from your budgeting perspective, but what is a bank actually going to lend you, and what is your interest rate going to be? Right now, interest rates are on the climb. We have no idea if we're ever going to see them in the 2s and 3s again. I asked my financial advisor this question, and he kind of laughed. He's like, yeah, we're never going to see that again. But I'll be honest with you. 4 years ago, I got a 4.25% interest rate on my home, and I was a first-time home buyer, and I had to pay PMI, and I thought that was bad. Right now, I'm sitting pretty, right? So you just don't know. It's got to work for you. And interest rates have never been this low. Let me say that again. They might seem high to you, but 10, 15 years ago, they were in the double digits. So keep that in mind. It's still cheap money to borrow, okay? But you want to talk to a lender so that you can get a really good perspective on what that process is going to look like. What does underwriting look like? How much cash do you have to put down? How much cash do you have to close? What's going to happen with this and that and the other? There are lots of things you need to discuss with the lender. If you don't have a financial advisor, I recommend after 30, you should really get one. Even if you have a 401k with your employer, you should still be talking to a financial advisor about, can you utilize that money if you want to utilize that money, or should you keep it where it is? You've got a certain amount of money in savings. How much of that should I use? How much of it should I keep in reserve? These are things that I can't tell you to do. Any agent should not be telling you or giving you any financial advice. We can only guide you, okay? These people this is what they do all day long. They're watching the market. They're watching the interest rates. They are talking to lenders. They know what's going on. And there's special programs, by the way, for first-time home buyers. There are special programs happening all over the place, right? So we might talk to one, if you're working with me, we might talk to one lender first just to get that pre-approval letter, because another tip, in order to put in an offer, you have to have a pre-approval letter. That's just the way it is now. You don't get to just go looking at houses. You actually have to put some skin in the game, and they want to see that you have been approved for a loan because they want to make sure that you're a solid buyer, okay? So keep that in mind. You're going to talk to the lender first. You're going to talk to them about budget, talk to them about down payment and closing costs, as well as getting that pre-approval letter. That's very important. I need that in order to put an offer in for you. Okay, this is where I come in. It's time to get an agent. Whether you've gotten an agent and that agent, like myself, would hook you up with a lender, or maybe a lender's hooked you up with an agent, or you just decide, hey, Emily, I really could use your help. Go ahead and hit my links below and let's get a conversation going. I love working with first-time home buyers. I have more of a nurturing spirit anyway. Some real estate agents get a bad rap for being, they're just looking at the money. They just want to, guide you in this way because they're just trying to get their commission. I'm sure those people exist. I've known a few myself. It was my goal when I became a real estate agent not to be that way. I am customer service driven. Whether you work with me or work with somebody else, when you're a first-time home buyer, you're gonna have so many questions. You really need an agent that's not going to be annoyed by all your questions and also is going to be responsive. I hear this all the time, that people aren't getting a call back from an agent, or the agent makes them feel stupid, and that is never gonna happen on my watch, by the way. There are no stupid questions. It is a very scary process. And I've been down this road with several new home buyers, and we have had a variety of different issues that come up, and we kind of learn it together and we figure it out together. And I guide you along the way so that you're not alone. So now you've got your agent. Say you're talking to me. We're gonna sit down and take a look at what you got approved for, and then we're gonna talk about your payments and where we want that to be, and are we factoring in HOAs? Are you getting a condo? Then you have to factor in an HOA along with that mortgage payment. So keep that in mind too if you're thinking about single family home or a townhome or a condo. Because townhomes, condos, some areas, most of them around here have some HOAs associated, okay? Then we're gonna get a plan. We're gonna talk about areas. And if you're relocating to our area and you're not familiar, this is again where your agent is gonna be really key, because now with technology, we can drive around, we can do virtual tours. I can send videos of areas. I actually have a client, I owe her a video. She's looking for some areas in Tarpon Springs, and I gotta go drive that area and show her what she could potentially be buying. We do that all the time. If somebody is too busy to do that for you, then maybe they're not the agent for you. Listen, again, I'm a very busy agent, and I make time for everybody, and I always try to set those expectations in the beginning of our conversations. Like, listen, I want to help you, but sometimes I can't get back to you right away. Just give me a couple of hours and I will get back to you. If it's urgent, please state that in your text. Texting is always best. It's just, in this day and age, we're on the fly. It's just easier to answer texts. So getting the agent that understands your goals, your budget, as well as can hold your hand a little bit. First-time home buying is super scary, so you need somebody who's got your back. Okay, so now you've got an agent, now you've got a pre-approval letter, you know where your payments need to be, you figured out an area, you're now getting an MLS search from that agent, You see a house you love. Guess what? You better jump. I just got off the phone with another client. There was a house in Clearwater. It went on the market on Friday. Today's Monday. They want highest and best by noon today. They're only letting it be on the market for 48 hours? That's what's happening in our market. Now, I am also seeing houses stay on the market just a little bit longer, but honestly, you still have to move fast. So if you see something you love and you don't live here, that is okay. We do virtual tours. I FaceTime with my clients. I had clients that I absolutely dearly love. They bought a condo on the beach in Clearwater, and we did a virtual tour, and I stayed on the phone with them an hour, going through every little nook and cranny with my phone, going, okay, this needs to be gutted, this needs to, and we ended up going under contract. They knew exactly what they were getting into by the time inspection rolled around. They are ecstatic, we closed. They're now gutting it and making it their dream beach house. So we do this all the time now in this environment, especially because of COVID. Doing virtual tours is fine, but you are gonna have to come and visit the areas of interest to make sure that it feels like you, right? I was working with another woman and she came to town to visit, and it was really interesting to drive around with her to see, okay, she liked the vibe of this area, but she didn't like the vibe of that area, and trying to understand that there's no way to know that without being here. So you do have to come visit periodically if you can, but at least one good long weekend, we can knock a lot of things out. So that's something to consider. So we've identified a house. We did the virtual tour. You're like, Emily, I want to put an offer in. We then start talking about price. It used to be that we could negotiate price based on the comps in the area. Can't do that right now. Everything's going either list or over. So when I say list, that price on the MLS, that list price, let's say that price is $500,000, it'll probably go for $520,000, even $550,000. In some wild cases, it can be $100K over. I would never allow my client to do that, but that's something you have to remember when you're thinking about a purchase. So let's say you get approved for $500,000. That's not where we start. We probably want to start at $400,000. We got to have that wiggle room, right? Because I got to be able to sweeten the deal and make it a very attractive offer for you. So at this point, we've identified the home, we've talked about price, we've talked about strategy, and I'm gonna write that offer for you. I write the offer up. There's several documents you're gonna sign, usually over eDoc. We do everything electronically now. DocuSign is my friend, and you sign everything. There's also at that time, I personally, because this is how my brokerage works, we have to be under contract together. So we have a buyer-broker agreement. All it states is that my commission's going to get paid, and if there's any additional fees. Now that's something that we talk together. Buyers never pay commissions. The seller always pays both sides of the commission, okay? Keep that in mind. But you and your agent have to discuss what that looks like, and you guys can go into detail with that, or you and I can go into detail about that. But just remember that. There could be some fees. Personally, I have a transaction coordinator. She is amazing. She keeps all of us on top of everything and makes sure all of the contingencies, we've hit all the contingencies. She is stealthy, worth every dime. Not very expensive, and I add that in. I don't get paid on that. She gets that money, and we keep moving, okay? So we've now put in an offer, and we have to wait. Let's say that you've won the offer. Now what happens? Within 3 days, you have to put in your escrow money deposit. That is your good faith deposit. That's your skin in the game. That shows I am a real buyer, I am serious, and that money, by the way, goes towards the mortgage. So it's all part of it. That money is going into the same bucket, okay? Then there's closing costs. That's additional. There's a couple of other things that might come up depending on the deal that the agent writes. There could be an appraisal gap contingency. There could be an escalation clause. These are things you're gonna wanna discuss with me or your agent, and we can go over that personally. So, we're under contract. Woo! You have 3 days to put down your deposit, your down payment, preferably 20%, okay? You have to do that within 3 days or the contract is null and void, okay? So we put that money down and the clock starts, and we also are now within our inspection contingency. Do not ever waive an inspection. I don't care what anybody tells you. do not waive an inspection. So you want that inspection in place. Usually it's anywhere from 3 to 14 days in this market. I try to do them anywhere from 3 to 7 days, depending on if I have an inspector ready in the wings, okay? During that inspection period, that is the due diligence period. If you find something that you do not like and do not want about this house, that is the time you can pull out. That gives you, let's just say it's 7 days. You have 7 days to figure that out, okay? So that's important to remember. So if you decide to pull out from that contract based on something that happened, whether you came to the inspection, you didn't like what you saw, or whatever, you get that escrow money deposit back, okay? So that helps protect your deposit. Just want to be clear on that. Okay, so then we've got a couple of more contingencies to go through. We have an appraisal that gets ordered, and then once we know how the house appraises, then if we had an appraisal gap contingency put in place in the contract to cover any gap, right? So if the house went under contract for $400,000 and it appraised for $350,000, you were only going to get a loan for $350,000. So that $50,000 you have to come up with out of pocket. So all of that language can be predetermined within the contract. And again, that's part of the negotiation before you get to, sign contracts. So you'll know all this ahead of time. So let's just say it appraised. Yay, we're happy. Now we move on. Now it's up to the lender. Things are going through underwriting, things are getting funded, and then about a couple of days before closing, we check things off all the lists that we have, making sure by the way, within this 30-day window of going under contract to the closing table, do not buy anything. So don't go buying that new refrigerator, don't go buying a car, don't go buying a generator because somebody told you have to have it for hurricane season. Wait. You want to wait on all of that until you get to the closing table and you've signed docs and everything is good to go, okay? And really, it's that simple. There's a lot of steps along the way that you don't really need to know about, but the lender and the agent and the transaction coordinator are always moving. The wheels on the bus are spinning, and we'll reach out to you periodically. Just know if you're not being told something, it doesn't mean there's something bad. A lot of times, we just don't want to include you in the riffraff back and forth if we don't have to, because everybody's really worried. You want to get to that closing table, and if there's one little hiccup, it can cause a lot of stress. So just know it's important that your agent continue to keep you updated, but you don't necessarily need to know everything along the way unless you're just one of those people that wants to know, which is fine. I've helped lots of people like that, and it's fun, actually. Be like, okay, this is where we are in the process. So it's okay, again, asking those questions. Ask them. Ask as many as you want. But my favorite day is closing day. And it's fun. We sit there, we sign a zillion docs, we take pictures, you get your keys, and you're a homeowner. It's that simple. So in review, the best thing to do, take a look at your budget, talk to a lender or talk to a financial advisor, but always get the lender so you can get that pre-approval letter. Get an agent behind you that has got your back, that is going to be able to hold your hand through the process and communicate with you along the way. Trust that agent that they've got your best interest at heart, and talk with your agent about the deal that you want to put in place, the contract that you want to write. Ask a lot of questions. Why am I doing this? Why is this? Don't be afraid to ask questions about your contract. It's your contract, so you should know what all the little pieces to the puzzle mean. Understand the strategy, understand that you may not win this deal. There's a lot of first deals we put out there that don't get even looked at. So in this market, people still are having massive amounts of offers. So it's up to the agent to help you understand what the best offer strategy should be, but ultimately it's your choice. So finding the agent that's not gonna put you in a position where you're gonna go beyond your budget is super important. So keep that in mind. Then we're under contract, and there's so many stages to get to the closing table from day 1 to day 30. Hopefully it's 30 days. So again, understanding with your agent, I send out a checklist. Actually, my transaction coordinator sends out a checklist with dates. Like, this is when your deposit's due, this is when the appraisal's happening, this is when, so that you know, and we can kind of put it on the calendar of what things are happening. And along the way, the lender, by the way, this is a tip. The lender may ask you for documents that you have already submitted 3 times. I don't know why, but sometimes they need it in triplicate. So just give the lender everything they need. It might be frustrating, but just whatever the lender needs, give it to them. You can ask them, why are you asking me for this information again? But honestly, they're still gonna need it, okay? But again, the goal, everybody's goal is to get to the closing table. The selling agent wants to get to the closing table. We want to get to the closing table. And of course, the lender wants to get to the closing table as well. So hopefully this video was a little bit helpful as far as the process with first-time home buying. And again, if you have any questions or if something didn't make sense, because I'm in the market all day long, so this makes sense to me, but it might not make sense to you. That's okay. Drop me a comment below. Ask me a question, reach out to me via email, and as always, I am here to support you on your journey to relocate to Tampa and St. Pete. If that's something that you want to do and have a conversation about, go ahead and hit me up. My links are below. Let's get a conversation going. And I always appreciate you visiting my channel and hitting that subscribe button and that notification bell. Again, I really appreciate all the support, and I hope that I see you again. So come back to my channel and have a great one, everybody. Bye.